So today what we'll discuss is we'll talk about custom responsibilities creation. Mean to say exactly custom menus and custom request groups. So we know like we created responsibilities, right? So we created responsibilities where we taken the uh, core, seeded menus and request groups. What is the menu? What is the responsibility created for payables? Payables.
18, 18 navigate VID.
Responsibility name I am asking.
Wipro.
Wipro we taken, huh? Fine. Wipro
Account.
or Airtel. There are some people from Airtel batch. So Airtel
Accounts.
payables, accounts payables, super user. This is the name we used for response. Why we taken the naming convention in this way? Tell me. Why we are using super user? Because when we are creating this responsibility, we used seeded menu. Okay, that means from this responsibility to whom you are assigning this responsibility, that user can have access to complete application functionality. So on that base, we given the name as super user. What is the menu we given? Menu name for this responsibility?
AP underscore navigate
AP navigate
GUI
GUI 12 and request group
all reports tables.
all reports for payables.
Table.
When you talk about data group, that we don't need to discuss, always that is standard. Okay, done. So these kind of responsibilities generally will create when we are doing the implementation of it. When we are doing implementation, okay, we'll create this kind of responsibility by selecting the seeded menu and the seeded request group. Once we're done with implementation, whether we are going to use this responsibility or not means, yes, this responsibility can be used by respective department manager only, or else as a consultant we can access. But what about users? So within this menu we have access to everything, right? Once for the implementation purpose, we'll create this kind of responsibility by selecting the menu and request group. Once implementation is done, this responsibility can be used by consultant for some kind of issue resolutions or for any other purposes or additional setups. And other side, the same responsibility can be given to respective department manager or who is heading their entire finance department in the respective company. That's it. So apart from this, these kind of responsibilities we are not generally giving to the users who are working on the system to record the day-to-day business transaction. For them, we never give this kind of responsibilities because this has access to everything. We have to give the access to the users. They are relevant to which process. So once we're done with implementation, if we take example, we implemented payables, the client will be providing the detailed information saying that username is so and so. This user require access to so and so features. That's how they're giving the information. I'll just take simple example. Say user, or else they generally let them call as employee, right? Which employee and access. Okay, this is how just we'll get the list. The client will be just in the Excel. They'll be keeping all the information and they'll be providing. I'll take few names here. What names we use here? Say Ramesh, say Suresh, say Alex, etc. I'll just three employees we have. Think just here. This Ramesh need access to only invoice process. He is responsible for invoice process. Suresh is responsible for payment process. And Alex, what Alex will do is, Alex is responsible to manage the supplier's information. That's all. Supplier maintenance. And in the same way, reports. Say this Ramesh need access when Ramesh is working for invoice process. Ramesh need access to only 5 reports. 5 reports related to invoices and Suresh need access to only say 2 reports. Definitely will be interacting with, will be explaining to the users business, saying that which reports we have and what is the purpose of report, etc. Will be explaining. Even I'll be taking those same points in our further classes. I'll list out module wise what are the key reports in the classes we take in our top 10 reports. Apart from that, what are the major reports we have, which report purpose, what exactly we'll be discussing. At that time you can understand. For now, just a simple case. Okay, so this user need access to 5 reports, this user require access to payment process and 2 reports. This Alex need access to only suppliers and he may need 1 report also, which report will list out all the suppliers information. Okay, take this case. In this case, this is how we'll be getting the requirement. First we'll do the implementation. Once we're done with that, we'll be getting this kind of requirement from the business, like they'll be giving which employee or say which user. You can call as a user also, nothing wrong, because we'll create employee will be assigned to user only, right? For every employee will associate with the user, so you can call as employer user. So 3 users or 3 employees we have. 3 employees need different access. I'll take one more employee also. So this employee also require access to invoice process only, and this employee need access to invoices related reports, only 2 reports. Okay, so this is how just we'll be getting the request from the business accordingly. Once, see, this is the responsibility which we'll be using, already we done, we completed all the payables configuration and etc, etc. Now if you are going to create for this users new separate responsibilities, again you don't need to do any setups. Already setups are specific to operating it. We're done with that. Again, for new users you don't need to do anything. The same setup related functionality we have to map to this user by creating the custom responsibilities. We'll do that. Okay, take this simple case. Okay, this is how we'll be doing real time. The same you can apply to receivables or assets or GL or any other application. Same logic is applicable. Okay, if this is the case, we have 4 employees. 4 employees are working for payables. 4 employees need different access. 4 employees need different access to the respective area and a different set of reports access they require. Now tell me, so can we manage everything with one responsibility? Yes or no? If yes, why? No means why? This is a very important for us now, at least now, right? We're done with the course. So now tell me, anyone, now how many responsibilities we require? If you say some number, why? The next question is why? Anyone? How many responsibilities? 4 users we have, 4 employees we have. How many responsibilities required? First you tell me number, then I'll be having some questions. One responsibility is enough. How many, for how many of you one responsibility is enough? No. How many of you one responsibility is enough? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Could you please tell me that responsibility name? Sorry? Accounts payables. Tell me. Okay. What within that responsibility? What we will be mentioning? What is the menu we'll be using? Then why we are discussing all this stuff? I'm asking the question. What user need you have to understand. If I give API navigate, why I have to talk about this? I will be giving to everyone the same, right? We should not give API navigate GUI. If you give an API navigate GUI access through any responsibility, that user will be able to access everything. It can be setup related features or function related, but that's what I'm very clearly specifying. This user need access to only invoice. You are saying this responsibility we will be assigned to Ramesh. Then Ramesh need access to only invoice process or everything? Only invoice. Then why you have to give the API navigate? No, right? What about Suresh? Sorry? We have to create? How many will vote for this? Think and vote. It's very important. See, it's not like simply we feel something, nobody will be stopping us, we'll be doing. So that is not approach. 4 response. Tell me why.
3 menus and 4 request groups. 4 responsibilities.
Yeah, 3 menus. Why 3 menus?
Why? Because invoice process is similar to Ramesh and LAXMAN.
Yes. For this 2, 1 menu is enough. We'll create 1 menu. The 1 menu can be used for this 2 users related responsibility, whatever you create. But if no reports concept means, okay, 3 responsibilities are enough, right? with this we can create one responsibility, with this one responsibility, with this one. 3 responsibilities are enough, but we have reports also. But here also for Ramesh and Lakshman, the reports requirement is same, then 3 will be enough. Since request group is different, now we have to go with the 4. Okay, now first what we'll do, we'll keep ready these menus, sub menus. Generally you can call these as a sub menus, or simply you can say custom menus also. As per business requirement, what we have to do, first we will create the sub menus or custom menus. Then we'll create the custom menus as per the requirement. We'll create the custom request groups as per the user requirements. Then we'll create the responsibilities. Then we'll be assigning however it's required. Okay, that's what we have to do. Let's do it. Here simply you can write as a custom menu. To support those reports access, we have to create custom request group. Custom request group. Okay, so first we have to keep these menus and request groups ready so that we can create the custom responsibilities by using the same. Fine. So we'll go and create the responsibilities, menus. Okay. Close it. Username is Airtel, right? Okay, in fact Airtel is using Oracle applications only. So now we have to go to system administrator. Just open the system administrator, click on any one of the function. Why it is not opening? Fine. So where we have all this, I mean, if you want to create any sub menus or custom menus, always you have to depend on seeded menu. And one point is very, very important. Whatever Oracle is providing a seeded menu, you should not disturb it. You should not play with that. That is the one which we can use to create the new custom menus. But you should not go and you should not remove something. You should not add something, so that entire environment will get disturbed with respect to application. Right? Never touch that one to do some changes or to play with that. Only that you can use for reference. From there only you can take the relevant submenus and all, you can define it. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to open the seeded one, right? So go to, you take the task as create custom menu. Task name you can take as create custom menu. Task name is create custom menu. Navigation is, so from system administrator, navigation is application menu. We want to create the custom menus based on which seeded menu? Payables. AP navigate GUI 12, right? Create first. AP underscore navigate underscore GUI 12. For one user, what access we require? Invoices. So simply you can copy this submenu name and paste into whatever the spreadsheet you have. We'll be creating, just before we create a custom menu, just we are we are taking that name. By using this, we'll create the custom menu. For this other user, payment, right? So here payments. This is the one we can use. See, I am not taking setup related. Setup means I have to go to setup, so I have to open this submenu. Within that, I will be finding the invoice and payment, but those are related to setups. It's all about process we are doing, process related. So process related submenus I am taking. So for other Suresh, payment related process related access can be given through this submenu. And Alex need access to only supplier maintenance, right? For supplier maintenance, what we have? Submenu, right? Again, within that specific functions means again you can query that and we can select only the relevant. Okay, so we copy here. And again for LAXMAN, same, right? I can take here. First we'll create and we'll replace with the actual names, then we'll proceed with the report related customization. Okay, fine, done. So now we'll go and create the custom menus. Okay. To give access to invoice process, this is the menu we have to use. For payment process, this is the menu. For supplier access, this is the sub menu we have to use. For invoice, same as this, same. Okay. Sorry?
Can we override seeded menu?
What do you mean by overriding?
We can change
Where?
whatever right is provided.
No, overriding not. See, if you are using that seeded menu in the responsibility, you can change and you can use something else. But whatever Oracle given as seeded, this one, these you should not change. This is just to take that core actual functionality or submenus from here and you can copy and paste into custom menu. That's it. This you should not disturb. That's it. Don't try with anything, just only to take some that submenu names you can use it. That's all. Now let's create those. How many custom menus? 4 means we are not focusing. 3 only. Click on new. Okay. So I'll give the name. I'll just prefix everything as Airtel. Okay, but think we don't prefix like that when we are working. Okay, here just to differentiate, I'm giving the company name, or else we no need to write. Directly you can write the actual only invoice process and something else. Okay, I'll just, but for everywhere I'll give the prefix as Airtel. Airtel invoice process. The user menu name, only user menu name only you can see in the LOV, the menu, the responsibility creation type. I'm taking the same. Okay, this name you cannot see there. This name only you can see. Better you can take the same name here and here. Then that will be easy for you. Then sequence is 1 prompt. Prompt is invoice process, right? I'll say display name should be invoices. That's it. So to give the access to invoices related process, what is the submenu we have? Already we taken into this. AP invoices GUI12, right? Copy and do paste here. Sometimes once you copy and paste, system will swallow it. Don't worry, again you have to paste it. Sometimes we'll see that. Great, it's not taking. No issues. Fine, save it. Then one custom menu is created. Custom menu is created. So system is submitting for concurrent manager for validation purpose and all. Done. Okay, done. We created. Now better what you can do is, instead of replacing, you can have one more field. This is a normal submenus, right? You may keep as a sub menus, and here custom, whatever we created, right? So to access invoice process, this is submenu we have to use. By using this submenu, this is a custom menu we created. We place here. Okay, done. Now we'll create one more submenu for It's payments. Any doubt or confusion, please? Okay, so let's go and create one more. Place cursor here, click on new, say Airtel payment process, and just I'll take the same as a user menu name. This would be the actual display name at the time of responsibility creation. So prompt name is payment or payments. Okay, payments process. Here take the actual submenu name to give access to payment process. Copy and paste here. And save it and submit to Concrete Manager. Got it. Okay. Keep here whatever the custom menu you created to give the access to this relevant submenu. Okay, and one more we have to create for only supplier access. Click on new, say Airtel vendor master. Supplier generally we call as vendor master. Your prompt you may give as a suppliers. And this is a submenu to get access for suppliers, right? Copy and paste here. And save and submit. Once you save, the request will be submitted automatically. Say OK. Okay. Now you can take this name and place in the Excel. Even implementation time, whatever we do, there should be some proof on what base we are doing. Everything will be capturing, will be maintaining Excel. Anyway, once we complete these real-time classes, you can get to know each and everything. Okay. But whatever work we'll be doing, this is how you have to track also. Okay. So other one, copy and paste the same here, right? Okay. So here I'll just change the numbers to simplify our work, whatever we are doing. Here, say for example, for invoices, they need two reports. One report is invoice aging and invoice registered. Only this user need access to only those two reports. Okay, and this user need access to say only one report. They'll be giving list anyway. The client will be giving this user require access to so and so. Accordingly, we'll be creating. But here, for our simple understanding and testing, we are taking that. Here, say this user need access to only payment register. Here, this user need one report only for supplier listing. Okay, supplier. The essence is will be working on suppliers creation and all. Before creating the supplier, generally what they do, they'll verify the same supplier is already existed or not. They'll be verifying. For that, you just think in that way. So this user require access to only one report, that is just invoice aging. That's all. Now how many request groups you have to create? Custom 4. You don't see anywhere no requirement for any user is matching. Those 4 are totally different. Okay, what we'll do is, first we'll go and maintain those reports. Okay, we'll take those reports here, then we'll be creating. Okay, so first we have to go to the seeded request group, right? Or else directly when you are creating also you can type, if you remember the name and all you can type, but just for simple understanding, let's go and do copy from there, then that will be easy for us to understand. Okay, so now we are going to create the custom request group. Before we are creating into which custom request group, which reports we require, we will go take and we'll list out. Okay, so from where we can see all the reports: security, responsibility, request. Take this navigation. Task name is create custom request group. Create custom request group. Okay, create custom request group. Navigation is security, responsibility, request. What is the request group name for payables? Yes, we query that. So very slow. Let me reconnect. All reports application is tables. Then query. Request group name is all reports, application name is payables. You can execute the query, control F11. Slowly it is loading. Okay, so there are many. Now say for example, connectivity issue we have this internet. Still it is slow. Fine. Let's redo this. All reports, payables. Query. Now let's take a few reports. Okay, the two reports I am taking for first user as invoice registered. I'll just keep here. And the other report is invoice aging. Okay. Fine. Instead of again searching for it, simply I will take other report. Okay. So this is the report which will display if any holds on the invoices. You know, like we can place the holds, or system will be placing system holds, right? Whatever. Think like these two reports required for first user, second user, payment register. Payment register report. This is for other user. And the other one we require supplier related, supplier audit report, which will display the supplier's information. This report is required for third, Alex. And the fourth one, what the invoice aging only. Take that as in of invoice aging. invoice, only invoice register. But we cannot go with only one request group for these two users, because for this user two, for this user only one. But here we have payment register, not invoice register. Definitely we have to create 4 request groups. There. Okay. Now we'll go and create the 4 request groups accordingly. Clear, right? Just first we have to list out which user, which reports. Based on that we can create the request group. Let's create request groups. Okay. Here, right? So just place cursor here, click on new. So everywhere let's give prefix as Airtel. I'll give uppercase only, Airtel. To invoice reports. You cannot write detailed name, right? Just I am giving for our identification. These are part of which application? Those reports are related to payables. And copy and paste those names. If you remember, you can type. You can get from LO. Invoice register. Copy and paste. Tab out. Go to next one. It's valid. Done. Over. That's what I was telling. Find that now it's remain. Again, one more report is invoice on hold report. Then these 2 reports are enough. Then save it. To take this custom request group name into that Excel, so that the same you can assign to relevant responsibility when you are creating. Okay, fine. Take this request group name, give the request group name and list out the reports. What are the reports access required within that? Just take this name and here keep here. This is a custom request group name, right? Now just one more request group just to access payment register, right? Let's create it. Airtel one payment report. Your application is payables, and here report name is payment register. So payables related. Okay, payment register payables. And save it. So it's taken. Payments. Okay, payment register. Should accept. Save it. That. Now take this name for which user related responsibility. Copy this name. Just make a note. Okay. Just we have to understand the logic. That's all. Take this name, and this is for this user, right? Next one is other supplier audit report. We'll create one more request group for customer supplier audit. Later, anytime you can add the reports from this. Okay, you can add and you can remove also. That is possible. Airtel supplier reports, tables, supplier audit report. Save it. Supplier audit report. Save it. So this request group for which user related responsibility you just update in the Excel. Copy. Okay. Just give the name and list out the reports. How many reports required? Then go to spreadsheet and update the same here. We're keeping everything ready so that when you're getting responsibility, easily we can select without any confusion. This is how we have to do generally. Okay, one more request group. Do you have any request group which will have access to only invoice aging? No,
No.
right? No, we don't have. This here, the first one we have, but we have one more also that we cannot use. So we have to create the separate one. So create one more request group. Click on new. Airtel one invoice report. Just I'm giving some random name. So payables name is report is invoice register. Again type, save it. Done. Okay, this you can take into that note. Now we have to create the responsibilities, right? Here I'll give the name as responsibility because there should be some proof and information after creating which responsibility we created. Within the responsibility, which custom menu we have, custom request group that will have access to what, that information we should maintain, we should track. So now we'll go and create the custom responsibilities. Okay, we'll go and create the custom responsibilities. Close it. Go to what is the navigation? Security responsibility define. I'll give the name as Airtel AP invoice process and list. Okay, and list. Okay, AP invoice process and list. Your application name is payables. Responsibility key is something you can write, not an issue. Just anyway testing. So data group is standard. Application is payables. And menu. This pay invoice process and list means menu we have only one, right? Airtel invoice process. For this Airtel invoice process and list, which request group? This is a request group we will use. Okay, Airtel 2 invoice reports. So think like this analyst require access to 2 reports. This we have to select. Airtel 2 invoice reports. Save it. Done. Okay, done. We'll create 3 more responsibilities, right? Click on new. Just to differentiate the name, I'm keeping analyst 1. Okay, because we want to give access to same invoice process but only one report. Okay, but there they'll be giving the actual names, how they'll be calling and all, they'll be giving the names accordingly you can create, but here you can take in those tables. Name you can give. Data group is standard. Application is tables. The menu is remain same, right? Airtel to no, that's the report, right? Invoice only. Reports request could be given like that. Here Airtel one invoice. Create and save it. This responsibility is created based on which one that we have to do here for this, right? The first one just I think we didn't take it. That is this. Just only remove one. These are the two responses we created. Now we have to create two more responses for this two, right? Let's go and create it. Payments user. I may write the name as responsible name payments user, or else it may be payments manager. Only payments manager, right? That can be possible. Overall payables are only payment manager or invoicing. Within that there is some other designations. Accordingly you can write it. Let's write it as a user, payments user. Your payables and the payments. The data group is standard. Application is tables. The menu Airtel payment process, and this user require access to only one, right? Airtel only payment I think we given, right? What we given? One, huh? One payment report. Save it. This is for whom? So this combination of custom request group and the menu we created. Now we have to create one more. Airtel AP vendor master. Here just payables. Response name you can give like that based on the purpose you are giving, and here say supplier request group is standard. So tables Airtel vendor master. If they require access to reports you can give, otherwise you can ignore it, right? But anyway we created, let's give it. So Airtel, what name we given? Airtel supplier. Okay, supplier done. That's how you can create. You can give the name here. Okay, just give me 1 second. Fine, now 4 responsibilities are ready. Now what we have to do, we have to create the 4 users. Okay, 4 users will be assigning the responsibility to respective user. Anyway, that we no need to understand, we can do it, right? So we no need to learn how to create the users and all. So that's how we'll be doing. But for now, we'll go and we'll create at least 1 user. 4 will assign just for our testing purpose. Okay. So basically, we have to create 4 to assign, but for just for testing, we'll create 1 and we'll do it. Security user before. So this is also that. So when you are creating the users and all, that depending on the company practice, some companies will use the username as the employee ID. The employee ID, because the employee ID will be unique, right? So they'll use the employee ID. With that employee ID only, they'll be creating the user, and they'll be just doing that assignments. Generally, we'll assign to 4 responsible to 4 different users, but here I'm assigning to, sorry. Okay, we created 1 user, and 4 responsibility will assign here instead of creating 4 users separately, just for testing. That is Airtel, AP, right? Everything starts with the AP. Here, that's how we given. And Airtel AP. Sorry. Done. Okay, 4 we are assigned to 1 user, but general practice would be 4 separate users, 4 separate responsibilities. Now we can just sign out and sign in with those respective user. Sorry. So it will 10. Selected wrong function because payment workbench, it won't go, I mean invoice batch process won't work without that profile option, right? That I selected, that's it. Sure. So if you assign this to any user, so the user will be able to create the invoice. So again, for some user you may want to give only invoice inquiry. In that case, this inquiry submenu only you can include in the custom menu definition. Then only this section only they will be able to see. Okay, done. So being a payment invoice process, this also analyst, and here reports also be given, right? If you go to your request, this analyst can see how many reports? 2 reports, only 2, only 2. Okay. And other user also the same, but reports point of view there is some difference, right? Only 1. Okay. We'll talk about payment user, access to only payment related functions. Payments or netting or anything, only payment related inquiries, all they can do. And when I talk about reports, only 1 report, right? Payment register. That's all. Okay, this is the one, and other you can go with the vendor master, suppliers, only supplier. Now, I talk about reports, only 1 report. Anytime you can remove this access to this reports, right? You can remove that, or else you can add to existed custom request group additional reports. All we can do it. That's it. So see, doing implementation is the primary task. Creation of this kind of custom menus, request groups, and responsibilities is not a great job. So first of all, we have to provide the good solution. As a consultant for payables, will take the requirement and all that will discuss detail level. How will take the requirements, which documents will prepare, that will be discussing detail level. But this is what we have to understand. The same logic is applicable for all the applications, same process. After doing the implementation, they'll give the big list. That depending on the company. The company is small company, You may find for payables maybe 10 users or 15 users. The company is a very big company. They have global operations in the multiple countries. They're running the business, and you are doing the implementation for multiple countries. You may create for payables only multiple responsibilities. So, for example, okay, this is how we are running. Again, there may be some new user in the company. The user requirement is okay. The user requirement is like they need access to only invoices, no report access required. Do we need to create what we have to create now? They need access to only invoice process. Don't need access to any request group. So in that case, what we have to start creating? First, we have to create the menu, right? Why you have to create? Already we have, right? You no need to create it. That's what we have to focus on. Okay, you don't need to create. I'm just giving the point. User need access to invoice process. To access invoice process, we have custom menu, right? You don't need to create again. Just you have to create the responsibility. Or else if already you have a situation where the user have access to, well, already you have one responsibility which can give access to this custom menu for invoice process. In that case, same responsibility I have to assign to that user also. That's it. Two users need similar access. Two users need for invoice process only. Two users doesn't require any reports access. Already for that you have responsibility in the sense new user also will be assigning the same responsibility. Think this scenario generally we see in the real time. One user, multiple users can perform same work, right? If organization is very big, in that case for each user you don't need to create any separate responsibility with the same access. Do you have any responsibility or not? You will verify that responsibility will be assigned to every user. And we discussed about SR security rules, right? Security rules not only for GL, those are for tables or all other applications also. Now this user is working. This for this user is Ramesh. Ramesh need access to only balance on segment value 1. In that case, create one security rule. The security rule assigned to this user. If you have balance segment values 1 to 10, say include 1 to 10, exclude 2 to 9, 10, 2 to 10, then 1 only will be allowed. That rule you have to assign to Ramesh responsibility. Now you have Ramesh need access to only Airtel invoice process, and even LAXMAN also need access to Airtel invoice process. Think these two users doesn't need access to reports. For that, in that case, you will be creating only one responsibility, right? One responsibility. But one responsibility you will be creating and both will be assigning. Now the requirement is Ramesh need access to only balance and segment value 1. But LAXMAN need access to balance segment value 1 and 2. In that case, one responsibility will support? No. For Ramesh, whatever you have, you can assign. Because responsibility required for LAXMAN also same, but access is different. So because of security concept, you have to create the separate responsibility. To that responsibility creates a different security rule that you assign to LAXMAN responsibility. So this is how we have to manage. Okay, and so get into that depending on scenario, you have to do it. To do that, this is the basic points you have to understand. Okay, so when you are working, we'll be creating many submenus and many custom request groups and many responsibilities. But those are simple tasks anyone can create if they understand how to create. But before that, understanding the business requirement and providing the proper solution, that's very, very important. If you want to do that, you should be okay with the knowledge. But I don't see most other people are doing well. You are not answering after completing the course. If I ask some specific questions, not happy. Tell me how many people are okay with everything by this time. You should be okay by long back. Okay, now at least tell me by this time how many people are good with all the applications, because we completed course. I don't see anyone. See, so that is a very negative status. And please spend time. That's what I'm telling. After, even if you learn all those things also, if you don't know basic product knowledge, you'll fail, no doubt. So if you may think, I know custom responsibility creation, etc., etc. I know real time. You may feel, but you don't know the actual product knowledge. If they are going to ask, could you please explain accounting entries in payables? Could you please explain the base tables and payables? Could you please list out 10 reports? I know real time, but I don't know this means what is the nonsense. Who are looking for us? Not no one. So that is very important. That is the reason you should be okay with the basic application, whatever we learn. the configuration and process, accounting entries and reports, or base tables, what are the interfaces we have, what purpose we have interfaces from each and every application. And even if you know those, not enough, you should have a experience of explanation. That also we discussed. You should discuss with others. You have to give the presentations. For all these, you have to spend more time. If you are thinking it's been 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, I'm focusing on that, I should get job, means that's a different story. If you are okay with the subject, if you get job, you can survive. Otherwise, you'll lose it. Okay. So that is the reason. Please focus on this. Okay. So in the tomorrow session, I'll give the complete agenda, what we are going to cover as a part of real-time classes, the complete stuff, implementation related, support related, what else we have to learn to survive in the company, everything will be covered. Okay, tomorrow I'll give that a complete list. Okay, this is for today. Okay, we'll see in the tomorrow session, same time. Okay, fine then. Thank you.